So this is crazy. You can now use Claude to edit your entire Shopify store. No developers, no designers, no coding. Literally just typing into Claude, you can make changes to your live store and do what used to take weeks and thousands of dollars for somebody else to do. So on the right here is a demo store that I use to test different things. On the left is how I'm using Claude, which I'll show you how to set up shortly. I just type stuff on the left, such as adding these nifty little quantity selectors, and it makes the changes to the theme, and that's it. This stuff used to take tons of back and forth just to get done, and a lot of times it wouldn't even be done right. Now you can do it yourself in minutes. So here's what I'm going to show you in this video. First, how to get set up. Second, how to connect Claude with Shopify. Third, how to edit your pages and store right from within Claude. Fourth, 2 powerful strategies you can implement right now using this process to make more money on Shopify, to show you an example of how this works. First, adding multi-unit bundles to your product page. Second, adding trust symbols below the buy buttons, just like the $200 million brand, The Ridge. Fifth, how to publish this so it's 100% live and making more money for you. So let's get into it. So first, you need a Claude Code account. And to get that, you need to sign up for the pro version of Claude, which is just $17 a month right now, but that gives you access to Claude Code, which is what you need. Second, you need something called Visual Studio. And I use a Mac, so I'll download the Mac version, but if I go to here and then I click download for Mac, and it's also available on other platforms. But I would download this, and this allows me to edit the Shopify theme directly from my computer without even logging in. So once you have Visual Studio installed, the next thing you're going to do is to create a folder. So over here, I've already created my folder, but if I did not have a folder yet, I would go to File, Open Folder, and then from here, I would create a new folder such as my Shopify store or whatever you want to call it. I called it Shopify Store Editor Demo, and that's going to create a folder up here that allows you to edit everything from your computer. Next, you need to add the Claude extension. So if I go over here to extensions on the left and I type in Claude, you'll just need to install this. And so I've already installed it, but if it was not installed, I would click this install button and that'll install Claude Code on your computer inside of your Visual Studio. And once you do that, all you need to do inside of Visual Studio down here when you're using Claude, after you've connected it to your Claude account, is type this in, install Shopify CLI, which is command line interface, into Visual Studio. So if I didn't type that yet, I would just paste that in there, and then that'll start installing Shopify. Now on my computer, because I don't do a lot of using terminal, I had to install something called Homebrew. But the cool thing is here, because you're using Claude right inside of Visual Studio, that if you run into any issues, which I had to install a few things on my computer, it kind of walked me through all this stuff, is you just ask Claude. One of the best things it's good at, we all know about language such as ChatGPT, but the next and possibly even better one is actually writing code and helping you with technical issues. So if you run into any issues whatsoever, and I don't have a ton of experience, I took about a month of Python experience like a decade ago, which I remember 0 of. And so I don't know how to do a lot of this sort of stuff, but it made it very simple being able to talk to Claude right inside of this window. And within a few minutes, I had everything installed that I needed to install. Next, once you have the Shopify's command line interface installed, you'll get a message that looks like this. Then you need to install the Shopify Liquid extension. So if I go back to the extensions and I just type in Shopify Liquid, you'll see this here, and this is the next one that you need to install. Once that's installed, Claude will walk you through the instructions to authenticate your store so that you can actually make changes on your computer, and then they'll affect your store once you push them live. Once all of that's ready to go, you can do this from within Visual Studio using Claude, but it was just as easy for me to take my current theme inside of Shopify, so you go to online store and then you'll see your themes, is I took my current theme and all I did was duplicate it. And you'll see this copy of Horizon. So then whenever you duplicate that, you can actually download those files using Visual Studio, and you can just talk to Claude using Visual Studio. You can figure out how to download those files. And then once that's downloaded, you can tell it you only want to make changes to the copy of that theme. This ensures that you don't accidentally mess anything up in your current theme. And so then you're only making changes to this copy of the theme, and then that you can choose whenever you want to publish as your live theme. So this makes your risk of messing something up in your main site much lower. So you can see here at this point, the copy of Horizon theme is now downloaded and ready to edit. So I'm editing this on my local computer. It shows me how to access a local preview of it, even the Shopify preview, and now I can start editing my theme. So now what do you actually use this for? Well, there's a few things that I've run into again and again when I'm helping somebody else increase sales on Shopify. Number one thing is typically to increase average order value, which is so easy to do, but so many people miss this. And so one of the ways to do that, when I started with this demo product, it basically just had one option here in a typical quantity selector. And so an easy option is to do like our store. You see on our store has 1 bag, 3 bag, 6 bag, and we default to the 3 bags. This is why selling coffee, our average order value is almost $80. And so all you're doing here is giving people the option to buy multiple, and you're defaulting to a multi-unit order. So the way to do this is the first thing inside of your actual Shopify store is there may be other ways to do this, but the way we do it is we set up a few variants. So we created a variant that I just called bundle. And so we have 1 unit, 3 units, 6 units, and the price total for all the units. So 3 units, we would sell for $111, 6 units, $162. And so now that we have those variants set up, it'll look like this, but that's not so good. And so I wanted to get rid of a few things. So over inside of Visual Studio, first thing I told it to do was get rid of or hide the buy with shop thing. I just don't want the distraction there. The second thing is I wanted to edit this part here. So I basically just gave it a screenshot. I took a screenshot of our actual product page and I told it that's what I want to create something similar. And so I said, now I want to modify the quantity selector on the product page and the attached screenshot. I want to show the price per unit and the discount. And I gave it the different prices, $47 a unit, $37 a unit, and $27 a unit. And then I wanted to show the discount on there, 21% off for the 3 unit, 43% off for the 6 unit. And I also want the default to be 3 units. So when I did that, it worked pretty well, except it still had what we have on the regular store over here. So it still had this 136. It did get rid of the quantity selector below there, which is good, but it still had this 136. Getting rid of this buy with shop was very simple. And so then all I had to do was say, the quantity selector doesn't look great. It still shows the bundle options above the ones you added. We need to hide those ones above. Also make the save tag background a light charcoal because it was red, which I didn't really like. And so after doing that, it basically spit out this. So I was ready to go. It's defaulting to 3 units. It's gotten rid of those other quantity selectors. It's gotten rid of this other distracting quantity selector. It's got rid of the buy button. And that's just me chatting over here in Claude, knowing nothing about coding, not involving a developer, not involving a designer, nothing. This is all 100% ready to go. All I would need to do is to go over into my Shopify, go over here, and whenever I'm ready in the online store, click publish this theme right here. Now, for another change. I said below the add to cart button, I want to add the 3 trust symbols like in the attached example. I want to have one that says free shipping, another that says 30-day guarantee, and another that says secure checkout. All I did, and this is a model that you can follow for any business out there, any change that you want to make. So I went to a big e-commerce brand that I'm aware of called The Ridge, and I looked up one of their products. And from here, I like how they have these little trust symbols below there. So I took a screenshot of this, and then I gave that to Visual Studio through Claude. And that's a screenshot I gave it. And I told it I wanted to add something like that. It basically does all that. And then we're done. We have these 3 symbols here that I could edit. I could add different little symbols if I wanted, but extremely simple. So this is absolutely insane. This was not possible until very recent. And so you don't need a developer. You don't really need a designer. You don't need anybody else to do any of this kind of stuff. You can do this all yourself or have somebody that's inexpensive on your team doing this stuff for you all day long, even if they have 0 coding experience whatsoever. Now below this video, you can access my free AI funnel toolkit. It'll break down some of this and show you how to create pages and funnels using AI faster than ever possible before. It's 100% free. Get access to that below this video now.